to that semi-final, to that quarter-final, and here's what the numbers look like. In the second half, possession coming a little bit more towards Asar's side of things. They created a little bit more, and they got dividends for it.
I think they'll be happy with the fact that they only had one shot on target, and they were able to score from that shot on target. They didn't create a lot, but you still look at the accuracy in terms of the pass. Mamelodi Sundowns still has that 91, you can round it off to 92%. And you look at also Asar. It says a lot to say the two teams are two ball-playing teams that were comfortable on the ball whenever they were building up. Looking at this, you can see that it doesn't matter what Raja can do, the game is still on. No matter what happens in that game, they can never catch up with the top two teams. So therefore that game becomes not important anymore. Mamelodi Sundowns finishes in second place, and Rabat finishes on top.
The latest update, it is still underway. That result at the very bottom of the screen there, Raja up against AS Maniema Union. It's 1-0 to Raja, and Fati scoring from the penalty spot in the 46th minute. It was right at the end of the first half. There was even a red card in that, but with Semete being sent off 41 minutes into the game. Maniema Union playing the entire second half with 10 men, but Raja Casablanca unable to get past that resolute defense. They'll take the 3 points, but 3 points that ultimately will not mean anything, as the Green Eagles here having to do a bit more defending in the dying moments of the game. Maniema Union, the team out of the DRC, pushing them all the way. Even here, as the live pictures coming through, save needed as Union trying to get something out of an encounter where they have finished bottom of the group, and trying to restore a little bit of pride to how they play their football. It's end-to-end stuff in the dying moments here. And with just another minute of football still to be played, interesting how the group has played out. Maniema Union, 10 men, really resolute in a game that we thought Raja would come and score a truckload of goals.
Yeah, you got to give big ups, Thomas, to Maniema. Although they way out of it, they still went out there and put up a good performance. You know, it shows the quality of the team. Raja, unfortunately, it's a little too late. Sundowns have got the point they needed.
It's a shock, though. It's an upset. It's
an upset.
It's not what you expect. Raja Casablanca out.
Yeah, Raja historically are one of the big guns of African football. They're the defending champions of the Botola. They won it under Zimbabwe last season. So it's a huge shock to see them out. We that didn't even qualify. But you look at this, the 8 that are left are obviously the best teams in African football for this season, you know. So it's going to be exciting. No matter, let's do away with number 1 and number 2. Whoever you draw is going to be a quality team, you know.
The last 2-3 minutes that we've experienced of Raja and Maniema Union, it's been end to end, and then wow.
Imagine if they needed a goal, that goal, to qualify Thomas, and they missed an opportunity like that. It would be devastating for him.
Not even close. Hands on head. Ultimately, though, it's not going to be remembered much in the history books in terms of a miss, and that's how it ends with Ibenge.
Yeah, here's Papi Kimoto.
Yeah.
I didn't see our guy there, Kitambala, Kumuto lives in, but I'm sure he's there somewhere. Yeah, you're going to give them credit. You know, I think Maniema, if they keep this team together, they do well in the local league. I think the second season they come back into the Champions League, they'll really be a threat. You mentioned it, Thomas, about Raja. Yeah, it's a real shock not to have the big powerhouse of African football, Raja, not in the quarterfinals, you know.
Interestingly, for Mamelodi Sundowns, they have topped the group for the last 5 seasons in a row when it comes to the Caf Champions League. This is the first season in the last 5 that it has not been the case for Sundowns, but that doesn't matter, right? The group was working out in a way that just getting through was ultimately what was needed. Sundowns are in the top 8 in Africa.
I'm laughing about it because in these 5 encounters whereby they came out number 1 in the group, they couldn't go all the way and win the Champions League. Maybe they say, let's reverse roles now and come out number 2, and then maybe you might get that lucky charm of going all the way with the tournament.
You actually say something very interesting, because there's a very interesting statistic around that that says the group winner has only won in the last 7 Champions League won the Champions League 3 times.
Yeah.
The second place team has won it 4 times.
times, yeah.
So that is something to keep in mind if you're a group winner versus a number 2. It does not matter. It's still 50-50 in terms of who could go on and win the Caf Champions League. Let's take you to the action that took place at Loftus and how we got into the situation. As first and foremost, foul on the man there, Ribeiro. He stands up and is orchestrating a brilliantly taken set piece, knocks in a great ball with that left foot.
I always speak about the delivery most of the times. So I would say the delivery is not so good. The delivery needs to be good. In this case, Ribeiro put in a good delivery, well-timed delivery where he finds Peter Shalulu was able to stay in between the central defenders, whereby he likes staying in those positions. And Pomoto always say with that, what's it? Jackknife
technique, head against the ground, difficult for the goalkeeper to make a save. I don't understand a coach that doesn't play Peter Shalulu. I really fail to understand. To say he works hard, he starts the press up top, he harasses the defenders, he positions himself well, he works for his partners in and around him, he creates spaces for his striking partners, and you don't play Peter Shalulile. I always don't understand a coach that doesn't play Peter, because for me, he's an excellent finisher in the box.
And not only that, he's always giving himself to the team. Regardless, he's one player that will always try to put in for anybody in the team. He always got that. Even during training sessions, he's the one that picks up the players. He's got super energy, that guy. I mean, he's got a pure heart also. You know, a good person that has a pure heart. As a footballer comes with being a good human being also. So him, that coming up, goals coming in, also it shows that the good human being that's always been supportive of everybody. Now there's stance to put up for him.
Sudesh, we did say that Asar had another gear, and that gear was sitting on the bench. And we were wondering whether they would come on. And they did come on, and they did make a difference. They got the equalizing goal. They got the goal that took them to top of the group.
So it just shows, Thomas, I think we were right from initially when they started. We said they're not going to come out here and push too much, you know, initially in the first half. But they realized that they let themselves with something, at least the pride, you know, a point and the pride. And they brought on the key player, Zazu. He's a product of the Mohammed VI Academy in Morocco. You know, they produce so many quality players. He's the key creative spark, you know, and he's one of the finds of the season in the Champions League this year.
You almost never see Ronwin literally just making a token dive. I mean, he's beaten from the second this ball leaves Zazu's foot.
Well placed. It's a very cool goal. I mean, you cannot take away that from Zazu. It's a well taken goal. Perfect technique. Opens up its foot. First touch finish. He used the power, because some of the time players want to use power against power, but he really used the power just to place it. It hits the open foot. It's able to place on the far post on the goal, and there's no chance for running at that time. You know, well taken goal.
I think for me, it's the positioning of Zazu. He does not attack the near post. He does not attack the penalty area. He attacks the space between Koza and Tebogo Mokoena to just lag around in between those two defensive lines. The cutback was excellent. The power behind the cross was inch perfect. Hence, he just needed to turn his body, open up his foot, and be able to place the ball in the back of the net. A well-taken goal, good positioning, and a terrific finish.
All right, let's take you to what took place up in Rabat, where it was a case of the Raja Casablanca coming with that, first of all, penalty, and then Enfati slotting it home. The goal that separated the two teams, and maybe the goal that gave them a little bit of hope at that stage, that, you know, if things go different at Loftus, they could maybe go through, but they never did. They never pushed on.
It was a situation of maybe. What happens on the other side, you are not in control at this point in time. But of course, you're going to push as much as you can, because of the other end, anything might happen.
5 goals would have put pressure down in Loftus, right? 100%. But they didn't get 5 goals.
They didn't. But also, it speaks about always trying to be on the front foot, not allowing yourself to be in a position whereby you can't control things. Because of now, you're in a position whereby you're asking favors, taking out the calculator and all of these things, doing the math and the subtraction. Whereas now is a situation, you just put yourself in a position of controlling things. Control what you can, and you're in a position of handling most of the things.
Guys, from what you've seen, as far as the top 8 are concerned, that are now going to the quarterfinals, anyone standing out? Anyone looking like, you know, for you, they have just a little bit more of an edge in terms of reaching the final?
Almost, yeah, when you look at the overall performance, I mentioned it already, these are the best 8 teams, but there are about 2 or 3 teams who you are a bit higher level than
Who's
others. I mean, the game yesterday showed us to me, those are the two favorites.
Both of them.
Al Ali, Pirates,
Okay.
the performance, the quality in depth, the way they approach games. I would look at the dark horse, maybe Esperance on the other side, Sundowns. A real dark horse could be Asar, But for me, I can't look further than, the quality displayed from Al Ali and Orlando Pirates,
I think for me, Thomas, I looked at the numbers. I looked at, it means nothing to win the group because the important job is during the group stages. But Orlando Pirates are the team that collected the most points in the group stages throughout the 4 groups. They got 14 points. There's no one that got closer to that. Does that say anything in knockout football? It says nothing. It's just a stat that I picked up doing the research preparing for the game. Al Hilal finishes on top. Orlando Pirates finishes on top. Rabat finishes on top. Esperance finishes on top. So those are the teams that will be on that special pot.
There's a huge bias here towards the North African sides.
I look at that. Esperance for me, I think they will be always going to be the one. I think also Orlando Pirates, Al Ahly will be there. I think Mamelodi Sundowns. I think I look at those 4 teams for me.
5 North African sides there with MC Alger, Asfar, Al Ali, Esperance, Pyramids against the rest of the continent.
Yeah, Thomas, it shows the dominance for, I think, the last decade or 2 of North African teams. But I think the Southern African teams are starting to close the gap. For me, what I always like to dispute, people say, no, to win the Champions League, you must play North African style football, and to me, it's just not on. Pirates went to Algeria, they went there, they won. They played the way they do. They went to Cairo, they won. Sundowns, under Pizzo, they won the Champions League, playing their style of football. So it can be done. They come, the North Africans always got the dark arts and, all this niggly stuff, but they can be beaten.
There you go. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much to all of you.